Energy healing is becoming more and more mainstream these days, and I get a lot of people who come to me just for energy healing, which I absolutely love. I use my intuitive guidance, my work as a clairvoyant medium, which I get messages through visions, I get thought forms and feelings in my body, and I use all that information, tuning into the person and finding out what it is that's blocking them from moving forward. I see the energy, I see blocks, I see people, I see things, situations, I see past lives, I see genetic links, all these things that are keeping you stuck from moving forward in your life. Sometimes, just the other day, I had a lady who I was speaking to on a FaceTime call, and she was feeling really down. She had a really just wasn't feeling herself. We'd done a lot of clearing probably 3 or 4 months ago, and so we knew that wasn't, that a lot of stuff had been done, and so the reason why she wasn't feeling so good was quite unsure. So as we were talking, it turns out that her grandfather was a very elderly man. He was coming in and out of consciousness, quite a heavy toxic kind of a person, and he was actually leeching his energy onto her. And what happened was, I said to her, do you feel like having a smoke? And she said, oh my God, I've been wanting to have a smoke for the last few weeks. And she said, I gave up smoking so long ago, I've never wanted to have a smoke. And I said, okay, this is this guy's energy that's coming into yours. He doesn't want to leave Earth, so he's trying to find a place where he can feel at home. So that's kind of one type of energy that I see. It's not hugely common. I don't want to freak people out, but it is, what I do is I clear that energy from people, and I put in blocks, and make it so that they are safe, protected, and that won't happen again. Also, having the knowledge that this can happen can help you as well, because we think, why do I feel like this? This isn't me. I don't normally feel this bad, or I don't normally feel like I want to go for a run when I normally like to go to the gym. There's things, changes in personality that you think, this isn't normally me. So if there's things like that's a good reason to have a look at the energy. I also see patterns with people with love. You might keep going into the same relationships over and over and over again. It's fantastic for the first 6 months, and then all of a sudden, things go bad and they have an affair, or and it's a pattern that goes on and on and on. And quite often it's happened through your childhood with your parents maybe, or it can sometimes be past life stuff that's coming up. You came into this lifetime to learn about when people do bad things to you, and getting this balance. You might have a contract in place, a soul contract. I look at all those, I find the reasons, I look at it, I clear. I love it, it's fascinating. When I close my eyes, I see so much stuff, and to be able to help people to move forward, it's just the best job in the world. So what happens is, you come in, you see me on Skype. I don't touch people, I read the energy. So if you're in here in person with me, I don't actually touch you. I close my eyes and I work with your energy. So it doesn't matter if you're here or not. People say, well, how can you do that if I'm not there? Energy is everywhere. Energy can be anywhere. So it's easy, and I find it too difficult to work on people. I can't zoom in and out of past lives, or look at, sometimes I hold a liver or a heart or a chakra or things like that in my hands, and I can work with that individual energy, which I find extremely empowering and beautiful. So I close my eyes. I always ask permission. So I will always ask, do you give me permission to enter into your energy field today? And then I ask if you will give yourself permission to release the blocks, the traumas, the negativities, anything that's holding you back in this lifetime or any lifetime. And then I generally see what the most blocking thing that is in front of you. Sometimes I see it that people aren't really in their body. They're watching their life. They don't feel like they're a part of it. Sometimes quite a few times I've seen a figure standing in front of them. It could be an ex-partner or a workmate or someone like that who's been giving them a lot of a lot of grief, and they're blocked by them, and really entering into trying to get into the energy field. So I do a lot of clearing around those things first, and then we tend to go deeper. So I have a look through all your chakras, we have a look and see what's going on an energy level. And often it will be something maybe that happened in your base chakra when you were 2, that gives you an unsettled feeling. Or I've had people who have come in who have been terrified of earthquakes, and going back through their past lives, one beautiful lady that I saw, I got this vision of her running through I can still see it in my mind, but I can't quite describe it, but it's quite like a desert type area with lots of tall structures around her, and one fell on top of her and she was crushed to death. And so explaining this to her and going through and clearing the trauma, the soul trauma that came with that incident, she's actually fine now. I've kept in contact with her, and we've had a few earthquakes here in New Zealand since then, and normally she would be terrified for weeks afterwards and freaking out, whereas now she's like, it's just an earthquake. So sometimes fears and things like that you don't know why you've got them, we can look at that. Fear of flying, fear of heights, fear of claustrophobia. One lady, I saw her in a mine, and there was a very tight, dark space where she had passed, and clearing that for her just made things so much easier. There's so much you can do with energy healing. It's just incredible. And people who come with an open mind and who really want to move patterns, things that are blocking them in their life, it's just so much fun. There is a disclaimer with this. It can be quite heavy going for people once the healing's been done. If you're open to the process and you let the energy shift through you, it can take a few months for this energy to settle down. So I always say that it's like a garbage bin. You've got all this energy, and you keep pushing stuff down, all your emotions, all the blocks, all things like that, and it gets tight and compact, and then more stuff goes in, and it just keeps coming and down. And so what happens is, like for instance, with people with sore backs, I see stored anger there, and when I release that, the backs usually kind of ease off, and I make it so that you can't store that anger in there anymore. But as that's releasing through I do it at an energy level, it has to release through your physical body. So some people can feel really down. Some people can feel really tired. It's quite common to feel really, really tired after energy healing. Sometimes people feel angry. You can go through emotions that you haven't experienced for years and years and years. And what it's doing is, as that garbage bin, all the stuff that's coming up to be released, it has to move through your physical body in order to let go. So it's usually a small burst of a tough situation. As an example, I had a guy who came in for healing. He was in an accident when he was 15, and he had excruciating pains in his arm, and back when he was 15, and he hadn't had that since then. And this is an elderly man. And so what happened is, about 2 days after the healing, he said that he had this most excruciating pain in the same place that he had in the accident. And I had done a lot of emotional healing around that trauma and released a lot. So as an example, that's the sort of thing that can happen. If you are releasing, you sometimes, quite often, will feel things as they release. So it is some people can feel amazing, and they just keep feeling amazing. Some people, it takes a little while to process, but just be open to the process. And if you're really willing to and wanting to change your life and how you feel about it, then oh my God, just give it a go. It's definitely well worth the process. I hope that helps with any energy healing questions that you may have. And if it feels right to you, please feel free to book an appointment. I'd love to see you.